Hey, Kevin here, top 100 financial advisor, two-time author, one-time bestseller, and we're here to talk about the stock market. We want to discuss how I disagree with Warren Buffett, which is very rare, but he made a move that I don't like at all that we want to talk about. And also Amazon made a very, very big move. So I want to discuss those two, what I see and what may happen over the near future. But before we do, I do want to talk about the Investors Toolkit. It is our premier course. I want to highlight a few things that you need to know about the course before we get started. So I'll turn right here to the screen and scroll down right here. All right, so there are 4 elements that are very, very important for this course and why it is one of the favorites among myself, but also my students, because they rave about it all the time. And it's why I can't get through my emails because I get so many thank yous, which is great, but it also makes it a little crowded in the inbox. So first, it is a step-by-step course. So if you've never invested before, or if you've been investing for 15 years, I take everything piece by piece by piece. Now, y'all should know that I started my career before I jumped into finance. I was a teacher. So I made sure that everything I do is super simple, regular terms, and we build on everything that you learn until you feel confident and until you are, at or near the expert level. So everything is step by step. You're never doing anything alone. You ask a question inside the course, my students will tell you I usually get back to you definitely within 24 hours, but usually within an hour or two, because those emails go directly to my phone. Those are prioritized, they're highlighted. I try to answer the question as soon as I possibly can. So that's number one. We go step by step by step. But number two, I want to help you save money. That's my biggest thing. I don't want you to miss the boat. I don't want you to miss out on good investments, because I know what that's like when you turn around a year from now, 2 years from now, even just 2 weeks from now, like, man, I really should have got that. Now I missed out on it. Now what do I do until the next boat comes or until the next train comes? That's not a fun feeling. It's also why I give you the testing toolkit, so you can test out and understand what an investment could do for you before you jump in and either make or lose money. And most of us would lose money if we didn't do that in advance. I have done that. I jumped into some stuff that, when I started, I wish I had known more. Did not, lost money. That money's not coming back. But now I understand how to test those investments out, and I'm much better off than going into it blind, which is what you do not want to do ever. So make sure that you want to make sure that you do that for yourself, for your sanity, and then for your future. So you want to make sure you check that out. And obviously, I have the monthly stock list. So every single month for forever, there I don't kick people out of my courses. I don't cut people off of the list. So you get my personal list every single month of stocks, usually between 15 to 20, depending on how the market is doing, of stocks that I've looked at and I said, look, I would put my money into these if I had to. So many of them I do own; those are indicated. And I show you when to get them and when to come back and reevaluate, because you don't want to buy something that I talked about in April that may not work for you now. So you get a chance. It actually gives you an indicator. Say, look, on this date, on this month, come back, reevaluate, see if you like these stocks or not. All right, so that is the Investors Toolkit. You get all of this info here. I also talk about the investing test guide. So a lot of us feel like, I'm sorry, the investing account guide. What account do I get? Do I go to Fidelity? What about Ally? What about Robinhood? We discuss all of that. I tell you the difference about why Roth IRA is important, what your 401k does and does not do. You want to know those things and you want to check that out. All right, so you can check out the Investors Toolkit. If you scroll down to the bottom, it's www.buildingbread.com/tools. You can click there. There's also a payment plan if you want to spread that out at, I think, like $349 per month if you want to take that route. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our story. Let me take this off, and there we go. All right, so Warren Buffett, one of the world's richest men, especially in the United States. I don't think I can name 5 people that are richer than him. And he's the most prominent investor in the world. When you talk about investing in the stock market, I mean, he's pretty much it. Now, he's not perfect. He is human, especially in the last few years. He has done some things that have been notable. So he got out of, what was it? Got out of the airlines, which I thought made sense. I didn't think it was, by his own research and quotes, it wasn't the best business for him to buy. He sold out of all those. I made a big deal about it because I did it months before him. Now, this time, I think things are opposite. So he sold out of everything Costco. He had 300 or so thousand shares, and he just got rid of it. And I don't know why. The reason why I don't know why is number one, Costco has seen record numbers due to the pandemic. Their online sales are up 90%. They have so much money that they are one paying employees more to work during the pandemic, which I think is a good thing to do, but they're also paying investors more. They are declaring a special $4.4 billion dividend and giving every investor $10 per share just for being an investor. That's it. So I don't know why you would sell it now. I don't know, or whenever he sold it. Sometimes by the time it's reported, in the time he sold it could be a gap. So I don't know why he sold it. I don't know why you would sell it before the dividend. If I were going to sell it, which I don't plan on doing, I would wait and get my little $10. I mean, for him, it's what, millions of dollars, $3 million at least. If he just held it until then and then sold it at that point, so it really doesn't make sense. But also, Costco has done better than the market well over one this year. I mean, Costco is up more than 20%. The overall stock market, depending on when you look at it, it was down today at about 12 to 13%. So it's 10% better than the market this year. It's kind of been that way over the past 5 years, even longer. So I don't understand why we get rid of a company that one has beaten the market, two relatively pandemic proof. They have a good brand. People love the store. They don't seem to be slowing down. I don't see a reason why to get rid of it. No, it's not, any of the tech companies. It's not Moderna. It's not going to be in the healthcare space. So it may not be the hottest thing in the world, but if you're 10% better than the S&P 500, and that's a regular occurrence, not just this year, it's hard for me to say like, I'm done with it. I'm getting out of it. I'm puzzled by it. I disagree with it. He's richer than me, so who cares what I think from his perspective? But I do want to come out and say, look, I still think it's good. My daughter owns it. I'm gonna keep owning it until things change. Maybe he knows something I don't. I don't know. But we have talked about in the past some mistakes that he's made and some good things that he's made. So we'll see where it goes. I'll definitely have my eye on it. Interestingly enough, the stock was up today, as was Amazon, which we'll get into in a second, but the market was down. And this is one reason why I've been talking about having things like Walmart, Dollar General, Costco, maybe a CVS, if you want to throw that in there, maybe a Walgreens, and you'll see why I'm kind of hesitant for those two, at least today, is because they are defensive stocks. When the market is down, for not every reason, but when the market is down, those tend to do a bit better, which we know is going to be up and down for at least a little while longer. And we'll see what that means. But for a little while longer, we know that Costco is kind of gonna buoy you to an extent. So don't understand why he did it. You get a special dividend. They've had record numbers. I don't know why. I'm puzzled by that. So we'll see. But I'm still pretty big on Costco. I'm keeping it. We'll see where we go from there. The other side of the coin, or other side of the news, was Amazon. They are launching a pharmacy, an online pharmacy, basically, that will be in direct competition with things like Walgreens, Rite Aid, and CVS. And that's now you see why I was kind of like, with those three. So CVS and Walgreens were down like 9% earlier today. Rite Aid was down like 15. So Rite Aid really doesn't like this news. And this is something for Amazon that we had talked about for a while, actually. Amazon had been hinting towards getting into the healthcare space for at least 2 years. In 2018, they bought PillPack, which is a startup that puts pills in packs, basically, but it's actually a really interesting and safe way to take medicine. So basically, you take out a pack, it says, look, this Tuesday, you rip it open, you take the pills, and then you kind of go that way. It helps you to, especially for seniors who may have Alzheimer's and you forget that you took today's pills. It shows you that you've ripped this open, you've used it, you need to move on or not move on. So it definitely helps you there, and it kind of put them into that space, number one. But also they formed with Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's company, and JP Morgan to form somewhat of a health insurance prescription drug company packed initiative, however you want to say. They were kind of iffy on that, on messaging it, but they're in that healthcare space, between the three of them, like pretty much combining together, creating a spinoff for their employees for health insurance. And again, this was like 2 years ago. I remember reading about this when I was living in New York 2 years ago. So they've done some things to kind of put themselves in this space. So it's been telegraphed for a while. As an investor, though, this is why number one, this helps because when you're talking, every day or almost every day, Monday through Friday, it helps you to get more familiar about what you're doing. But also, this is why I said that the overreaction with Pfizer's news last Monday, the very next day, or that same day rather, last Monday, Amazon was down 5%. I said of all the companies, I understand why you would sell out of Zoom, why it would be low. I'm not sure if that's the best thing for you to do, but I understand why it was low. Amazon, whether you going or staying or whatever, you're going to be buying from Amazon in one way or another. So it didn't make sense for them to fall. This is one of those reasons. And again, this was established back in 2018. It's also important to continuously invest and be not necessarily ahead of the curve. You obviously do, but you want to understand what is going on and take a long-term approach. Just because the stock was down, you don't want to judge everything and all your investments on one day. You still want to take a step back, say, look, it's down 5%. I still know they have X, Y, and Z. They're not going to go anywhere. And this is what helps you keep calm as an investor, as opposed to making a very costly mistake, which clearly you don't want to do. Another example of this is when I brought this up in 2018 and when it was announced in 2018, Amazon was less than $2,000 a share. Now it's well above 3,000. That's a whole lot of money that's left on the table when you don't invest on a consistent basis, or you're waiting for a stock to fall, you're waiting for a pullback is what they call it, or you're trying to time the market. That's why I'm trying to do that. That's why I'm trying to do that, because everything's going to seem more expensive over time, right? In 2018, I thought that $1,900 a share for Amazon was too much. I thought, it'll never get that high. It'll never go past 2,000. Then it hits 2,000, then 2,500, and it just continues to go on. Now, no, not every stock is going to do that, but you do want to take that approach that what you think is cheap now, what you think is a pullback now, is going to be completely insignificant, or could be, in most cases, completely insignificant months and years from now. There are people right now saying, well, Tesla's at 400 when you adjust for the stock split, it was like 200 and some change 14 weeks ago. Right. Well, people say, well, I'm gonna wait till it drops. Okay, so it's at I'm putting out a price. Let's say it's at 400. You can wait to drop it to 395. So it's still not the 200 that you should have got it at when we first talked about it. So you always want to compare things in that light and make sure that what you're looking at is accurate. You don't want to start playing a game with yourself like, well, I'm gonna wait till it falls to a certain level, because the level it fell to, it still will never be at the level you should have got it at, or you really wanted to get it at. Hopefully, at least as an investor of Amazon, hopefully it never goes back down to like 2,000, 1,800. Hope that didn't happen. We saw what happened, back in March. But I can't wait for it to go back to 1,800 for me to get in. I need to get in now, because it could go up to, well, we hope 4,000, 5,000, or whatever it is, until they do a split, if they decide to do that. But you always want to look at stocks in that way and understand that 10 years from now, you're going to wish you started 10 years ago, especially in the stock market. So you want to act early, have a plan, understand what that company does, and move with, I would say, deliberate speed, if you will, and move with confidence. And the way that you do that, one, is through the Investor's Toolkit, because you understand what is going on, how to put yourself in the best positions. This is why we knew about these defensive companies. It's why we've been talking about Costco and all the defensive stocks early in this year. It's why Amazon has been on the list for a number of months now. And it's the way we're able to move out of stocks like airlines and others at the right time. Because if you picked up airlines anytime last year or at some points earlier this year, you're not looking so great now, even though they've had some big gains. We also know that, when the airlines come back to what? They've been down since 2007. That's 13 years of not doing so well. So you always want to have that context. You always want to make sure that what you are doing is using the best available information that you have, not personal feelings, because your feelings and your emotions don't do math. All right, that's it. That is it for me. I've been stumbling on my words all day. I don't know why. Just been that type of Tuesday. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.